One. Hello, my fellow warriors of love. Welcome to the Honey and Money Summit. I'm here. I'm Tarek Bliss BB. I'll be your host and co-host with Dr. Lisha Antiqua.
Hello, hello. How are you doing this morning? So good
So
to have you
excited to
here.
see
We
you
are going to
guys.
have fun.
Yes, fun. My guarantee is that you're going to leave these 3 days every day. You're going to leave more remembered, more integrated, more activated, more whole, more complete.
Yes, mine too.
We got some amazing guests for you guys. We're going to go deep. My intention is that we all feel super nourished, super held, super supported during this cancer season. Extra nurturing won't, will help. And yeah, I would have loved to see you guys on the Zoom if we did a Zoom call, but we're able to reach more people using StreamYard. So
The StreamYard it is.
yes, so I will be supporting you guys through all your financial abundance blockages as well as inner child blockages. And Dr. Lisha's superpower.
Is transforming trauma. So I'm going to be holding your inner child dear. I'm going to be explaining to your rational mind what happens with trauma. And then we both are going to come together to synergetically hold space for you to truly step into your value and your worth and clear that second chakra block if that speaks and resonates to you, and say yes to your security and your safety. So yay.
Beautiful. You're in great hands, guys, and love yourself enough to stick through it for the 3 days. And first of all, just let us know your names and where you're tuning in from and what's your intention for the next 3 days. So, first comment here is Jari from Sweden. Beautiful. Nice to have
Woohoo.
you with us, Jari.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay. So, we're going to start off just by holding space for us to set some intentions for the next 3 days while folks are coming in. So I invite us all to just rub our hands, get that energy warm, moving and grooving. You're welcome to place a hand on your heart, hand on your stomach area. And let's take some deep breaths together. So starting now, take a deep belly breath in. Just hold it for a few seconds and release. Beautiful. Hold the exhale for a few seconds. And take a deep belly breath. And hold it. And release. Hold it on the exhale. And take a deep belly breath. Last one. Hold it for a few seconds. And release. Beautiful. So we're creating a safe, sacred container for us to show up in our fullness, in our messiness, in our allness, fullness, wholeness. Light and dark, all of it is welcome here.
Yes.
So, Dr. Lisha, did you want us to start with some kind of intention setting for the day, for the 3 days?
I really do. So, if you do have an intention, I feel bad because I'm not yet hooked up to my TikTok, and so I'm kind of
Okay.
distracted.
Yeah, why don't
And
you do that?
and I'd
I'll
like to
hold it
get
down.
that so everybody there
Yeah,
that I promised could join could also also
got it.
do that, and then we can jump in with intentions. But while we do that,
Yes.
why don't just start thinking about your intention if you're listening live right now? Like think about your personal intention for this event. Like what would it feel like? Can you even imagine what it would feel like to know confidently that you could step into intimacy? What would it feel like to step into your abundance? That's what I was really imagining this morning. For so many trauma survivors, we have trouble imagining, because we go into that old story. So what if you could imagine that first step of what it would feel like to have plenty of money, to know your value and your worth, to feel your abundant heart, to know that you are good, that you are enough, that you are whole, that you have this beautiful gift to offer the world, and it wasn't met with resistance. So many of us know that we have this beautiful gift for the world, but we don't know that it is that but it's met with this resistance. It's met with that old negative talk of, well, you can't do this, or blah blah blah, or just resistance comes up in the world. And what would it be like if you had no resistance, if the money just flew into you with ease and with joy, if the relationships came to you with ease and with joy, if you created your life's purpose with ease and joy, and you had the confidence in you to know that you're stepping into that, like right now? What would that be like? That's my question for everybody.
Love it. I love it. So let's just all close our eyes and just actually feel that right now. Let's take a moment, and I'm activating the infinity healing, which is not only going to it's not just going to be a visualization, but for this process, we're really encoding to source God universe these core emotions that we're desiring to manifest in the next 3 days, the rest of our lives. So really tune in and feel those core feelings that you're calling in. What is your being needing the most right now? Think qualities, think feelings, think emotions. What's the core thing? Is it safety, security? Is it some laughter medicine? Is it connection and intimacy? Is it that feeling of expansiveness that you can have whatever you want, do whatever you want? Right? I always say it's not the money that's going to give us what we want, it's the feeling of empowerment, security, freedom. It's not the relationship that's going to solve everything, but it's going to give us the qualities of intimacy, depth, and connection. It's not the job that's going to solve everything, but it's going to give us an experience of fulfillment, alignment, where we get to contribute our and shine our gifts and abilities and all of that. So let's take the
Yes.
moment, get very clear on those qualities, feel them as if they're happening right now.
Hmm.
So just focus now on one thing, one end result, one desired outcome that you're looking to experience. One, like above all else, what's the number one goal, dream, intention that you desire? And I would love for you to take 15, 20 seconds to really anchor it in. And while you're doing that, the infinity healing is going to clear the opposing beliefs, the opposing fears, the opposing emotions of, let's say, not good enough, it's not safe, clearing what's in the way of that happening right now. So really anchor it in, transmit it powerfully to God, source, universe. Clearing the belief systems in the way, clearing the fears in the way, clearing the emotions in the way, clearing the root traumas in the way, showing all parts of you that it's safe, clearing the karma from past experiences that are in the way. And we do that by learning and downloading all the lessons needed to be learned from all those past experiences. And all of those so-called failures were just stepping stones, bringing us closer and closer towards our goals and dreams. And now multiply the feelings that you're feeling right now, times them by 100, times them by 1,000, transmit them powerfully. Yes, this is happening right now. Yes, I'm deserving of this. Yes, I'm good enough. Yes, it is safe. Yes, I deserve it. And let it fill your whole entire body. Imagine every cell in your body is jumping up and down with excitement of all the great things coming your way. And let that fill your body, your emotional body, your energy body, spiritual body, your auric field. And let's include in this more than what we know to ask for, so it also includes our heart's desires.
Yes.
Yes. And let it fill our room, our ancestral lineage, our future generations, the city that we're in, the country that we're in. Sorry, Lisha, your keyboard is so distracting.
Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. We're on though.
Yeah, I feel
No
the
more
passion.
typing. I'm done. I'm done. Woohoo! Welcome, everybody. Join us.
Multitaskers over here.
This humor is going to just allow your intention to go further.
Yes, thank you. And let it fill the whole country that we're in, blessing all the peoples on the on the country, like all the original people of the land that we're on, all the current people, our entire lineage, everything and everyone that led to us being here right now. Thank you, thank you. All the seen forces, the unseen forces, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I want you to give your inner child the biggest hug, the biggest thank you for being here right now. You could have been anywhere else, and you were drawn or you were called to be here right now. So thank you for that. And I always say, love yourself enough to show up and receive. Half the reason why people succeed is they show up. And they show up with that empty cup. They don't show up with a, I know everything. They show up with, I wonder what I can experience from this. Yes, I've heard this 1,000 times, but maybe this time I'll learn something new. So it's an empty cup. It's a trust. It's an openness. And thank you for your trust. Thanks for being here. Thanks for co-creating this call. I like to believe we have a blank canvas in front of us. Sorry, my internet might cut in and out every now and then. But we're all and me and Lisha brought this beautiful canvas, and we may be painting, but we're all painting this canvas. And at the end of the 3 days, we can look at that canvas and go, damn, we created this magical co-creation. It's a beautiful experience. So thank you.
Yes.
All right. So Lisha, we're gonna go back to back. I'll be starting doing a 45-minute presentation, healing activation, and then you can follow. Is there anything you want to share before we started?
Yeah, I just want to welcome everybody here. Really know that it is our intention to bring more prosperity, more love, And there's a common low frequency belief in a survivor's life. I've been working with trauma survivors, specifically childhood trauma survivors, and specifically sexual trauma survivors for pretty much my whole life. When I was 13, I turned in my dad, and like from that moment on, my stepdad, from that moment on, I've been helping people heal with this and talking to my friends about it, and everyone would always come to me, and eventually it turned into a career. And I'll tell you that story in a minute. But the common belief is broke and broken. Right? And that shows up in our lives. And our intention is to take our demographic and people that are doing things differently, that might feel broke, might feel like you're on constant healing mode, and you've been healing and fixing and coping and healing and healing and healing, jumping from one course or one self-help book or one therapist or one program to the next, over and over and over again. It is my intention that you come into this and just like know that through this 3 days, with all the energy that we're bringing, we're going to break up. We're going to break the broken. We're going to break open the broken. You are no longer broken. You're no longer broke. You no longer need to be fixed. There's nothing to fix. You are divine in perfection right now without anything else. And our intention is to share this not only with our own self, but as you know it, as I know it, then other people that have gone through trauma that has seemed to break them will know it for themselves too. And the rate of trauma survivors and childhood trauma survivors making millions of dollars less than their cohorts that aren't suffering with the PTSD and the anxiety and the depression and the hypersensitivity and everything, so they're missing work. We'll get into that in a minute too. That you can step forward into your wholeness. And when you do that, when you break those chains, then everybody around you will break those chains too. And we can start making just as much money, keeping our dreams jobs just as long, knowing and believing in ourselves just as much as our quote unquote normal, healthy counterparts, brothers and sisters who didn't go through the childhood trauma, that didn't go through that break in their sensuality and their sexuality, that didn't go through the beating up on their mindset, their ego. So our intention is to give you a raise you up emotionally, raise you up energetically, raise you up in a relationship, and raise you up at work.
It's time
That's
for
my
a
intention.
raise.
Time for a raise, everybody. So if you're into a raise, you're in the right spot.
Yes, I
That's
want to
that.
raise you up just like I should. Remix.
Raise
All
you
right.
up. All right. So I'm going to just
If
pop
you're,
off.
thank you for that. That was beautiful. And yeah, you're welcome to. Yeah, you're gonna be here and pop up whenever if you're feeling the spirit, wanting to share anything at any point. But yeah, stick around. We have a great group of speakers. Lisha will be holding it down for 45 minutes when I'm done. And then we have some guests that are going to be sharing throughout this whole summit. So stick around. And thank you, Lisha, for that. That was very heartfelt, very beautiful.
Yeah, you're
Let's
welcome.
raise it
All
up.
right. Raise it up.
All right.
Raise it up.
Raise it up. Raise it up. Okay. So I will start with, so first of all, anyone on Facebook, there should be a StreamYard link attached to where you saw this. If you click on that StreamYard link, it'll give you access so that I can see your name. Otherwise, it pops up as Facebook user, but that's fine if you want to keep it that way. So thank you from Kansas. Nice to have you here. And Bonnie, nice to have you here. Mahalo nu loa. I don't know if I said that right. Thank you from my heart to all of yours. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay. So I will be sharing an infinity healing activation. I'll share a little bit about my story for those of you who don't know me. I'll be sharing a very heartfelt poem. And my intention is that you guys experience more empowerment in your finances, in your abundance, in your prosperity, in your life purpose alignment. Been blessing that. I've been blessing folks with that for 15 years, and I'd love for you guys to experience and receive that. So, Katya, thank you so much for the amazing content. Hi from Bavaria, Europe. Beautiful. God, worldwide. Awesome, awesome. All right. So, I'll share a story, I'll share a poem, I'll share some healings, and we'll conclude my segment in around 45 minutes. We'll take a little break, and then Lisha will be blessing us with some amazing things as well. You're very welcome. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, my name is Tariq Bibi, and born in the Middle East, Jordan. Left when I was 4 or 3 or 2 or something like that. Went to Dubai, um, then immigrated to Canada when I was 17, and to here, to Toronto, and have been digital nomading it, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, Costa Rica, Brazil, different parts of the world for the last 10, 15 years. In officially holding space for mostly women and a handful of awesome men in the last 15, 17 years to release their childhood traumas, release any abuse traumas, which then manifests as financial abundance, which manifests as amazing jobs, amazing careers, life purpose alignments. A lot of my clients are healers or closet healers, and um, and growing up as a kid, I felt very sensitive, very empathic, very I didn't fit in here, was confused. I prayed to God saying, why is it so dense on the planet? Why are people so different than me? Why do I feel different? I would feel entities and energies at night, and I would see these black clouds kind of hovering around me, and I'd feel their fears. Just like feeling a human's energies, I feel the entities' energies. Because I was put down a lot, school made me feel like I wasn't good enough or I experienced not feeling good enough at school because I was getting the lowest grades. So I always felt lesser than, not good enough, not deserving. Higher grades meant you're a better person. Lower grades meant you weren't a good person. Teachers would say, why can't I be like my older brother? So I definitely felt not good enough, not worthy, not deserving, piece of crap, lesser than. And I had a really bad relationship with money. I felt in Dubai there was like super wealthy people who had it all and super poor people who were the underdogs, and I always sided with underdogs. But then I also kept myself in a cage. You know, everyone who wronged me, all the people who bullied me and put me down, told me I wouldn't amount to anything, holding on to that anger and resentment kept me stuck in a cage. So fast forward now, I'm in Toronto and I'm abusing alcohol, abusing drugs, I'm getting into fights and all sorts of stuff. My heart almost stopped one night. My friends are passed out on the couch. It's the morning after the sun is rising. I'm still smoking, not enjoying it. I'm still drinking, not enjoying it, trying to numb out, but I can't. Like, it's just like I had to face those feelings. And in that moment, I just felt like my heart stopped. And I wasn't afraid of dying, but I was afraid of wasting my life. So I prayed to God to give me a second chance. And then a few seconds later, my heart went back to normal. It was just a spasm, but I didn't know that. I was just punishing my body because I hated myself. And I hated myself because I thought people hated me growing up. But the truth is, they loved me. And I created a belief that said they hated me, which created an experience of hating myself. And so step one was I prayed for a second chance. And then I had a bag of MDMA pills, which are ecstasy pills that I used to use at clubs and house clubs when I was partying. But my intuition said just take one pill a day and then ride it out and never go back there again. And so every day I was taking one, and it was like unlocking these blocks mentally and spiritually and physically, and just I would have these baths and journal. And this is like before all of this research has come out about the power of MDMA or magic mushrooms, psychedelics that really help unlock traumas. And I was going so deep into myself and releasing all these things. And then my intuitive nudge said, so I grew up thinking my dad hated me, even though he loved me and still does, and we have a great connection. We're so close. But he was just, that's how I was raised, tough love, right? And so I misinterpreted tough love. And I got the intuitive nudge from my guidance to reach out to my dad. And I emailed him. I was in Toronto. I emailed him. He was in Dubai. And I just shared, like, hey, I'm not sure why you hated me, but I'm having a hard time in life and this and that. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to do in life is confront. And when I received the email back and he said he sees a lot of himself in me, and you know his parents were tough on him and he was doing his best, it like shattered the wall that I created of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, you know, I'm not lovable. My dad hates me, and I realized that he loves me and sees a lot of himself in me. And so that was day one. It was like a rebirth. It was like a new chance at life. And so I've been blessing it forward ever since. So fast track, I then discovered my purpose as a healer, and I created my own modality called the Infinity Healing. That's voted one of the most powerful healing modalities in the world, and it's been translated into all these languages. And there's facilitators all over the world that are following this process. And one of the core steps in the Infinity Healing process is the forgiveness process. So everything, all the steps I've taken, I've integrated manifestation processes in there to manifest your life purpose, your soulmate, your financial abundance. So step one, I discovered my purpose as a healer. And then step one was forgiveness. Step two was discovering my purpose, my passion as a healer. And then step three for me was figuring out the entrepreneurship and the financial abundance. And then I went from broke to making 10,000 within a 10-month span. And now I've been blessing that forward, working with my clients, helping them align with their passions and purpose, helping them hit six figures and beyond, helping them forgive all those that they haven't forgiven yet. And so I've been doing that consistently for the last 15, 17 years. And I'm also a rap artist, and I've got 5 albums out there under the rap name Indigo Prophet, and poetry album coming soon. So that's a little bit about my story. And I would say my superpower is getting to the root, core traumas that are stopping you from experiencing your financial abundance, experiencing your ultimate relationship, experiencing fulfillment in your life purpose. So just wanted to read some of the notes here. Thank you for this. You're very welcome. MLG, lovely to watch your live videos. Got me through a few times. Beautiful. Thanks for that feedback. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. Lisha's nurturing our audience here. Hello, everyone from the retreat. Excellent. Okay, so let me start with a poem. I might just choose the first one that I see. For those of you that don't follow me on Facebook, every now and then, when I feel really heavy, I'll just channel a poem and just put it out. And I usually don't read them after that, but when I reread them, I usually end up crying because they're so powerful. So I'm going to do this one here. Okay, here we go. Manisha, bonjour. Merci beaucoup, de rien. Thanks for being here. Okay. How are you? People ask. My response is, I'm great. But am I? Maybe what I'm really saying is, I desperately need some support. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm falling apart. I've put together my broken self with tiny pieces of tape and it's all coming undone. Maybe what I'm saying is back off. You don't want to know. Maybe what I'm saying is I'm scared to have you care about me, to help me, to be there for me. I am a lone wolf. That is how I've gotten here this far. And now you want me to let go of the very thing that has gotten me this far, to surrender control, to trust again, the very thing that leaves me open and vulnerable, easily wounded. So I trust. I take the risk. I take the leap. I get betrayed again. My mind thinks up of all the possibilities of me getting hurt. I almost want it to be true. I expect it to be true. I can't believe you would truly love me. It has to be a conspiracy. I play hide and seek with those around me. Please be there when I need you. I reach out and then I hide again. No peekaboo, more like it's been nice to know you. I am fine. But what I really mean to say is I have found many ways to cope. I use food to make sure I don't feel what's underneath. I used to use alcohol to numb me, sex and have you love me, overachieving, but it's never enough. Wow, look how much money I made. But no one gives a fuck. I need help. And if you reach out, I may find the strength a month from now. What troubles me now are my own fears. It's my own power. What if every ambition was driven by the need to feel significant? What if everything I'm doing is not coming from the right place? There was a time I would drink myself to bed, cry lonesome tears, s- smoke to punish my heart for being so dumb. I'd do anything to help me feel numb. I used to make love. I used to be love. I used to see the world like a child. But now the clouds are dark and gloomy. The vibe just keeps getting spooky. And changing the channel won't stop the fact that there's a horror scene happening somewhere in the world every second. And what is my aim? To be a millionaire? Do I really care? In many parts of the world, the aim is survival. In this part of the world, we're miserable and in denial. We take for granted all the freedoms we enjoy. We're living like kings and queens while we destroy. But we are slaves. We like to think we're sovereign, but we obey. And we pray to those who prey on us every day. We choose fear or love. We all have that divine spark, and we all have a dark embellishment. The dark ones want us to believe that is all that we are, and the light ones want us to think that we are only light and heaven sent. I feel so irrelevant. I can't change the world. I could barely change myself. What's the long-term plan here? Find someone to love me, to take care of me. That's the role I play. It's easier that way to keep numbing myself till it's done, feeling high when I'm number one, and feeling like a loser when I succumb. I have layers upon layers of being made fun of being put down, of feeling less than, feeling worthless, feeling not deserving, so confused and uncertain. God, is there a way out? Is there anybody out there? Or have I been praying to the clouds? I'm sitting back with little faith, watching the devil play checkmate. We're all pawns in this global chess game. And part of being human is fighting demons, and that's a self-hate. I know it seems dark, and like the sun, you keep shining from above. I'm slipping. I'm sinking. I'm giving in to temptations, distractions, empty ambitions. It's all an illusion. I'm taking a time out. I forgot it was a game. Started to believe the screams and shouts. You want us to believe in it so bad, so we feed you with our emotions. What if we all started hoping and dropped a million love explosions? What if we all drank of the divine's potion? What if we all spread our wings and started soaring? What if every moment was exhilarating and not boring? What if we stood up to the plate, bake and eat the cake, share and learn from mistakes, and hate, and procrastinate, and slaves, and our old ways, and fate, usher in a new way. Be brave, be bold. All you ever need to know has already been imprinted inside of your soul. Now, go. Just gonna take a moment. Thank you for receiving that. Appreciate it. And love to hear how you guys are feeling. Beautiful. So, thank you. Thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it. So, if you've got some water, feel free to take a sip right now. I feel the chains breaking. I love that. Thank you, Tarek. You're welcome, Nisha. Moved. Thanks, Dr. Lisha. Welcome. My heart expanded. Beautiful. Awesome. I want to go into the next thing. So I want to share a process. I notice a lot of times people go, I'm afraid. Bonnie says, here, here. Thank you. A lot of times when our inner child gets triggered, Star Traveler says, beautiful, heartfelt poem. Thank you, Star Traveler. A lot of times when our inner child gets triggered and unsafety comes up, or whatever emotion comes up, a lot of times we say, I'm afraid. I don't know why. I just feel I need to go back home or I need to retreat. So I want to share a process that I've been doing with my inner child, and it's really been a game changer for myself and my clients when I've shared it with them. So step one is to distinguish between I and my inner child, not to create separation or fragmentation, but just to know that you, that the big I am you, is infinite consciousness, infinite possibilities, infinite empowerment, infinite love. That part is not afraid. But sometimes it's okay, like the correct wording is my inner child, unsafety is coming up for me, or my inner child's feeling unsafe. And that way it just helps separate you from, not separate you, but create space. It's almost like there's an inner child that's afraid, and then you're the loving mother and father and warrior and all of that, right? So when, just pretend right now your inner child just got triggered, it saw something or felt something or heard something, and now it's going into unsafety. So just know that that's the mechanism of your mind. Your mind's trying to protect you. But we can either let the mind protect us sometimes when it's not needing to do that, or so either the mind uses us or we use the mind. So step one, identify the emotion. There's unsafety. Where is it coming from? Inner child. Observe the mechanisms of the mind. It's going into fight or flight, fight, flight, sorry, fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, I'm observing that. So the next step is observe the reactions and the need to want to run away. And then I always like to put myself, if I'm out at a party or a festival, just I'll go to my tent or I'll go to the washroom, just go to nature. If you're at home, go to your room, just regroup somewhere you can regroup. And then we are responsible for our inner child. In the world right now, people are just projecting and dumping and blaming, and the whole victim thing does not work. Trust me, I tried it for half my life. I wasted half my life in victim, in blame. Doesn't work. So what we want to do is take ownership of our what we're responsible, our emotions. Someone can say anything, and if I felt something, that's my emotion. So I feel unsafe, I regroup, and then how to mother your child, how to father your child, how to nurture your child is create space for it to express how it feels. So right now, imagine you're triggered and imagine now you're doing this. So, hey, I always go, hey, little guy. So how do you want to communicate with your inner child? Hey, little one, how are you feeling? So what came up for you? And then allow it to share because now you're acknowledging it. You're communicating with it. You're holding space. You're holding its hand. You're hugging it. Oh, I just feel really unsafe right now. I feel like bad things can happen. Okay. A lot of times it regresses back to like the worst case trauma, right? Might not be what's happening right now. It could be, but sometimes it's not. It's very valid. So you're validating your emotions. One of the greatest gifts of cancers, the season we're in now, is validating emotions. Hey, I hear that you're not feeling safe. Thanks for sharing. And step two, how can I support you right now? What are you needing right now in this moment? Oh, you're needing a hug? I got you. I got you. Uh, you're needing to uh, cry? Let's cry together. You're not enjoying this experience. People here are not feeling in alignment. They're not your people. You want to leave? Let's leave. Let's go home and watch a movie. Let's go home, get some pizza, watch a movie. Whatever it is. So, would you like an infinity healing? This is a process which activates it within you and allows Source God Universe to do infinite things for you so you get the results you want. Would you like an infinity healing to master self-love, self-care, self-nurturing towards yourself and your inner child and your emotions and your needs? If you like that, just say yes. Yes. So knowing what you're needing in all moments, asking for what your needs are in all moments, being the greatest mother, father, nurturer of your inner child, would you like that? Yes. So it doesn't have to go from trigger, hide, numb out. It can go to triggered, safe space holding, breakthrough, right? So a lot of times we can't escape these things. Everyone's holding up a mirror back to our own stuff. They're mirroring our unresolved stuff, especially in a relationship because you're in each other's faces. So let's say half the people in the world are running around angry at those people who are mirroring them and triggering them, breaking the glass in the mirrors, blaming. And what they're doing is they're recreating even more karma, more crap to have to deal with. But the gift of those experiences is in those moments. Can you give yourself the gift of being vulnerable and sharing and practicing what I call radical vulnerability and transparency? Hey, Lisha, when you said that to me, I felt really rejected and hurt. That's practicing vulnerability. Um, what we don't want to do, and I learned this the hard way as a fiery Aries, is snapping Lisha, you don't care about me. You're sabotaging me. You're trying to ruin everything. That's blame. That's projection. That's anger, right? So those are emotions. But what's underneath that? There's sadness. There's hurt. There's feelings. And when you share those feelings, you let someone in. There's nothing more beautiful than seeing someone in their vulnerable state. It lets you in. You're letting them in. You're being courageous and saying, even though I feel so delicate and scared right now, I'm still going to lead with courage and bravery. Um, and it allows for resolution. Maybe there's tears that'll come up, the emotions, whatever unresolved traumas get to be experienced, felt, and released. So think every time you're triggered, there's a beautiful gift to take back some power that you've given away. It's like on one level, the game of life is you came in, you once upon a time, you had 100% of your power, your love, uh, you were fully remembered, and you forgot parts of you. You gave away so much power, and now the game is to take back your power. So your higher self is going to manifest scenarios and people and experiences around you to take back your power, to remember who you are. So the game of life is in those moments when it happens. Um, be vulnerable, share the vulnerability, go within. What do you need? How can you support yourself? And then I do the infinity healing process, take my power back. You can just like imagine breathing all your power back, whatever works for you. And then when you take all your power back from that scenario that's been playing out your whole life, it may play out less, or if it plays out, there's no triggering or very minor triggers, or you just laugh at it because you're like, oh yeah, this is the thing that used to trigger me. Now I can just laugh at it because I've taken all my power back. So would you like an infinity healing to integrate your inner child, remember all parts of yourself, take your power back from all these experiences, shift out of the victim consciousness into the powerful conscious co-creator as a new default? Would you like that? And healing any rejection wounds, abandonment wounds, I'm not good enough wounds, not worthy, not deserving, can't have what I want, what's the point, I'm always going to fail. So seeing yourself as a powerful warrior, as a successful being, as a winner, just because you are. Everything, all this infinite abundance is your birthright just for you being. Clearing where you have to work so hard to be loved and accepted and supported. Clearing anywhere you have to work your ass off to receive success and money. And allowing your new default to just be a magnet to all the things that you're desiring, be a magnet to love, to support, to beautiful relationships and friendships and abundance and financial abundance and feeling of being at home, at peace, safety, security, supported, infinite faith, infinite trust in the universe and God, source, providing for you all that you need. All the doors are opening up and you're flowing and you're flowing through them, you're growing through them, you're surrendering to the divine flow, you're trusting, allowing, always at the right place at the right time, unshakable, unwavering faith. Would you like that? So see all parts of your being remembered into one whole complete being. See all the power you might have given away consciously or unconsciously brought back into your being, reclaiming your infinite freedom, empowerment, and sovereignty. Would you like that? Beautiful. So let's affirm, I am powerful, I am free, and I am sovereign. And in that, we're destroying any contracts, agreements, karma, vows, patterns, any lesson love, manipulation, curses, spells, black magic, evil eye, jealousy, envy. It's just reclaiming our infinite divinity our power and just blessing our lives, our life with all the things that our heart is desiring in every moment. You deserve it. You ask for it, you receive it. Take a stand for yourself, for your needs, for your wants, believing it's possible. Would you like an infinity healing to increase your believability level to 100% believing that it's possible? Forget it, learning the lessons from all those past experiences, seeing it all from the highest perspective, and increasing your level of excitement for what is your ultimate desire. Letting your level of excitement be 100%. It's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so it is. So let's just fill our whole energy field with all that our heart is desiring, with that infinite freedom, empowerment, and sovereignty. Let it fill the entire city that we're in, blessing all beings. Let it spread into the whole country that we're in, the whole planet, the universe, beyond, the infinite dimensions. And starting now to give permission to all the perfect energies, all the perfect beings that are perfect for you, to do all that they know to do for your highest good, for the highest good of all beings right now. Yes. To bring our beings back into the divine blueprint, to bring this planet, this reality, this existence, this universe, the infinite, back into the divine blueprint. Would you like that? Yes. And to anchor in every moment into the ultimate timeline that is for our highest goods. Would you like that? Yes. Beautiful. Welcome back. And from this, and let's bless this forward so all beings everywhere are reclaiming their infinite freedom, their infinite empowerment, their infinite sovereignty, that everyone shows up at the right place at the right time. Everyone is choosing love over fear. Everyone is taking inspired action. Everyone's sharing their gifts, talents, and abilities to the fullest. Everyone's receiving infinite financial abundance and using that to create a love-based reality. Everyone's following through on their mission and vision. Everyone's getting infinite intuitive nudges that get louder and louder to the point that we can't help but follow through on them by taking inspired action if needed. Everyone's receiving infinite intuitive nudges, synchronicities, coincidences, miracles, blessings on their path. Just imagine the volume of love, just increasing it all the way to 100%. And imagine the volume of fear. We're just turning it down. Lower and lower and lower. And imagine we're raising our consciousness and awareness levels higher and higher and higher. And imagine we're raising our frequency, our vibration higher and higher and higher. You guys wanted to raise? Well, we're raising it up. While remaining grounded to Mother Earth. And one of my favorite prayers is, I surrender my life to the infinite aspect of myself, or to my higher self, or to God, to Source. And what I mean by that is it's all my needs are getting met, but even more than that, right? Seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all shall be given to you, or however it's worded. So making sure we're seeking the kingdom of heaven first, we're choosing the highest mission first, and all these things come secondary. We're loving ourselves first, we're filling our cup first. Would you like an infinite healing for that? Beautiful. And just see the inner children of the whole planet. Just imagine we're all holding hands in a circle all over the planet. And imagine around behind us is even a bigger circle of all the perfect energies and beings. Do you give them permission to do all that they know to do that is for your highest good, the highest good of all? Yes. Imagine the inner children of the world in the middle of that circle with a beautiful violet aura, cleansing, shielding, protecting, transmuting energy. Impenetrable light force, life force. I'm just the power of love. You can look someone in the eyes, someone who's going to harm you. The power of love is so strong. Just by one look, you can make that person break down into tears and shift from being an aggressor to being the person who holds space for them as they cry out their traumas. And that's what those aggressors are, people in trauma. And you either feed it or you heal it. Either feed the trauma or you heal the trauma. Many of us on this call were choosing to heal the trauma. And many people in the world are choosing to feed the trauma. And imagine all those inner children being loved up, supported, taken care of, nourished, nurtured, protected, exalted, respected, appreciated, seen, heard. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. And so it shall be in this now moment and throughout eternity. Infinitely throughout infinity. And whenever you're ready, bring yourself back into the present moment. Feel free to take a deep breath, take a big stretch. Beautiful. So every time you said yes today, you're allowing Source, God, Universe to do infinite things for you. That includes letting go of beliefs, fears, emotions, root traumas, karma, childhood stuff from mom, dad, ancestors, past lives, all of it. It releases what needs to be released and it replaces it with what needs to be replaced with. So, and it goes into the collective as well. So thank you for every single yes, and know that everything you've done for yourself now has impacted the globe, the infinite, beyond the globe, the universe, the infinite, all time, all space and time and dimension. So thank you. And Dr. Lisha, whenever you're ready, you're welcome to take it from here. My call to action is show up, stay with us. Anything you miss, try to watch the replay as soon as it's there. We'll keep them for 7 days. So 7 days from now, we'll take them down. So please watch them while they're here. Do love yourself enough to commit to this. It's a game changer. Stay with us. Every day we're going to build on what we're doing. Like, yeah, tomorrow we're going to build on what we did today. We're just going to keep going deeper and deeper. And the results you're going to get are going to be phenomenal. The person you're going to be, like already now, the person you are now is not the person you were when you first came in. You're more remembered, more actualized, more empowered. So amazing. And if any of you are not connected to me, feel free to reach out to me on all social media. My ad is right there. Where is it? Right there, at Tariq Bibi. And my intention with all my content is to share healings, activations, music, anything that's going to help you remember who you are and create a more empowering reality for yourself. So just by being connected, you're helping in that cause. And imagine a world where, we've broken the cycle of abuse. We're choosing love over fear, and we're fully empowered in our purpose and passions, and sharing our gifts in the biggest way possible, making the biggest impact while experiencing abundance on all levels. So if that resonates with you, just by being connected, you're helping make that happen. So thank you. And if you guys haven't seen that movie, Sound of Freedom, I watched it yesterday. It just came out yesterday, and it's the guy who acted in Passion of the Christ. And it's an independent movie. I think it's matching Indiana Jones or making more money than Indiana Jones. So it's such a win because it's a movie that's actually exposing child trafficking. It's based on a real life story of a guy who does this for a living. So highly recommend, if you haven't seen it, to go see it. And I want you guys to know that I'm going to add that organization that funds these guys who go out and stop child traffickers, sex trafficking of children. And I'll be adding it to our company's a percentage of the profits that we make will go towards, like, so the profits that we make from the sales of the program that we're launching in this summit, I'm going to specifically donate it to that charity, that organization. All right. Thank you guys. Hey, Lisha.
Hello. Hi. Wow. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I should have gotten my ring light, but the lighting's going to be what it is, guys. It is early in the morning. It's 6 a.m. here in Alaska. But welcome. Thank you so much. So everybody, good morning. Good morning. Everyone on TikTok. We're also on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Tariq's channel. We're on my channel. So if you're joining us from any channel, welcome. If you haven't gotten our gift yet, we'll put up that link somewhere. We have multiple links here. We'll make sure that you guys get it. They're also on TikTok. They're in my bio. On Facebook. They're all over our pages. You can take one of those links and get module 1 of the course that really inspired this whole program. And Tariq and I created it together because of this belief of unworthiness, this plague, I would say, of unworthiness that comes to many, many survivors of abuse. And even more so, it gets embedded in those root causes for childhood survivors of abuse. And so we are on a mission to end the cycle of abuse, to end the cycle of survival and struggle. And part of that is financial, but abundance and financial abundance is so much more than money, right? When you have abundance, you have more choice, you have more options, and those options allow you to help more people, to be more generous, to be loving, to be caring. I have so many beautiful friends that take me out to eat and say, hey, I want you to come on this trip with me. And as a single mother, is one reason why I worked with Tarek and was drawn to Tarek, is because as a single mother, I have this huge mission that's not too popular, ending the cycle of abuse and specifically healing the effects of childhood sexual abuse with people. And for the last 20 years, not many people really want to talk about it, right? We look at that and we're like, oh, the trauma. Oh, I don't want to look at that. I want to avoid that. And when we avoid these things that hurt us, that gave us self-definition, what tends to happen is the rest of the world avoids us too. And so anyway, I went to Tarek to say, hey, there's a block here. And I've done all the work. I've gotten the degrees. I have the understanding. Will you help me? Will you help me with the infinity code? Will you help me to shift this? And he said, yes. Because money isn't my drive. Impact is. For me, I want to see survivors of childhood abuse have better relationships, be able to tap into generosity, trust themselves to love, trust themselves, trust yourself to be enough. And that in itself is what means the world to me. I've spent my lifetime, and I'll tell you my story in a second so you can get to know me if you don't know me, but I've spent my lifetime. My soul came onto the planet for this mission. On a higher plane, I have an agreement with myself that I came onto this planet, picked the family that I chose. And that, I'll get into the rings of responsibility. I picked the families that I chose to interact with, to have my experiences with, to confidently come here and have an impact. And yes, paying the mortgage, buying groceries, having the funds to travel and speak, especially before we had this big this stuff here, is super, super important, right? Super important. So I'm going to look over here and just read some of your comments. Thank you so much for your comments. If you're on TikTok, I'm here, but my camera is in front of here. Okay, Angel, we will make sure to get that link to you. Thank you, Tarek, for taking care of that. Yeah. So I believe the link shifted, unless it did. If not, I will get you the link. I will make sure that works for you, for sure. All right. Okay. So the link that she's speaking about is a link to the course that we've created. This specific link is to help you really create some space between you and your shadows. I want to talk about shadows, though. Oh, I want to talk about so much. This 45 minutes is going to go by really quickly. Let me get back on track. I'm going to talk about shadows a little bit today, because it's really important for you to understand from a trauma survivor perspective, from a childhood trauma survivor's perspective, what shadows are. And they are not what you think. So I'm going to mix the shadow conversation in with my own story so you can get to know me, because I know a lot of you are here by the invitation of Tarek or other speakers and our other guests, and I want you to know me. So first, my heart is for impact, and I have been blessed with the means and the ability to have a beautiful divine life with very little money around me. I live in a beautiful home. I have amazing friends that come and love on me and take me out and want me around. I give endlessly through my confidences of healing modalities, which I hope to share many with you this week. And I give as generously as I can through my time, through my videos, through all of my social media, through my books. I was voted America's premier expert in self-care and healing for the work I've done with the identity code, which is called Amazing You. It is a treatment plan or a journey back to wholeness that I wrote. I train therapists and coaches and certified coaches in the Amazing You methodology. And then for my dissertation and my doctorate, I created a program to heal the root of the root cause in sexual abuse survivors, which is your relationship with sex and intimacy. And so I spent a lot of my time creating tools for you to have impact in your world. And because I was busy creating all those tools, I had some money blocks and some proving blocks that Tarek has helped me to begin to, I hope it's just the beginning, begin to transform, to go deeper and deeper, and to transform, to step into my wholeness so I can help you end the cycle of abuse, see your value, and have incredible relationships. And so if money is not your drive, if you're on here and you're like, I just want to heal my trauma, money's not my drive, maybe you want to have impact, maybe you want to travel the world, maybe you want location freedom, maybe you want to write a book, maybe you want to do something else, but like hard-earned cash isn't your, like, yes, I want to be a billionaire, I want to be a millionaire. Yes, then I get you. I want to touch 1 million lives. I want to touch 1 million lives, and I want to be able to eat at night. I want to be able to afford my rent. I want to be able to take my friends out to dinner. I want to be able to have my kids come up and say, hey, Mom, I want, I need $50 for this. I want $100 for that. I need a new car, my engine, something, and be able to go, oh, no problem, right? So it doesn't have to mean that you are driven by being the next Elon Musk. So if this is resonating with you, give me a yes. Give me a yes in the comments and tell me what your intention is. Tell me what drives you. Is it impact? Is it passion? Is it your family? Is it health? Is it vitality? Like, what drives you? What is your intention? So Tarek says, impact. Thank you, Tarek. Like, what drives you? Because that's abundance too. Rosamy, welcome. Welcome. Hello, Amy. Hi. What drives you, Amy? When you think about your future, when you think about that, what drives you? And we'll get into who am I to even ask this question. Abundance in every way. Resume says abundance in every way drives you. So the first thing to connect with as we go into this summit, I want all of that. Yeah, it's the wholeness, right? The wholeness of all of that freedom drives a lot of people, right? Freedom. So knowing what drives you is going to help you set your intention for the next 3 days that we have together, and tap into this desire of what you want. So I was blessed to get the health, energy, happiness, relationships, love. Yes, I love that. Angel says, thank you. I completed again just now. Yes. Yes. Star says, yes. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So if you haven't met me yet, let me introduce you. Let me introduce myself. So yes, I have my PhD in transpersonal psychology, which means I studied not only the mental health aspect of psychology, but also how it affects your physical body. I studied the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of trauma and how it affects us on each level. So when I work with my clients, I work with you as a whole being. Right? I'm not just looking at mindset or mental health. I'm looking at what your physical body is sharing with you, what your mental body is sharing with you, what your emotional body is sharing with you, and what your etheric field is sharing with you, meaning the things that show up in your life, what you're magnetizing towards you. And like Tarek said, these are all the things that you can take responsibility for yourself with, right? I see these aspects of self as ego, right? Protecting your soul. These are the shields that you have. This is your armor that you have to protect your soul. So you have your physical armor that's going to take the hit. You have your mental armor that's going to take the hit. You have your emotional armor that's going to take the hit. And you have your magnetic field, right? Your aura, your etheric field that is going to take the hit before your soul itself, before the essence of you, that all inclusive you, the you that is one with all that is all, is going to take the hit, right? It's going to have that shift and that change, that fragmentation. And when we go through trauma, one or all of these areas gets fragmented, gets broken down. And on a physical level, it's nearly always an autoimmune disease. So I work with a lot of clients that have an autoimmune disease, and I want to share with you how I learned about this first physical level. All right. So for me, my story is, yes, I went through a lot of trauma. I began being sexually abused about 18 months old. And then I had neglect, loving neglect, we'll call it, until I was about 7 or 8. And at 8, I was adopted by my stepdad, who was, in some cases, a super spiritual, beautiful human being with a lot of drive and ambition. A beautiful artist. He was full-blood Native American. We'll just put it that. I won't track it back down. And when I was 8 years old, I started being beat nearly every night for about 7 years. And during those years, I was beat for being white, for being a honky. And that's a perspective that not many people have. I also was molested by the same person and by her friends. And at 11 years old, I had a near-death experience during one of those events. And my life shifted in a huge way. I was very hung up on that particular trauma for 20 years of my life. And when I was 13, I turned that particular person in, which was a ripple effect in ending the cycle of abuse on both sides. My stepfather's side of the family, because I opened up that conversation in the village on the reservation. And I didn't know that for years. That was another really cool story. And then also on my maternal side and all of that, I also had some neglect, some abandonment issues from my biological father that were unintentional, but still very, very real for me. So all of that created this perfect storm of depression, panic attacks, anxiety, lack of self-worth. I entered in many negative relationships. I have a healed or reforming narcissistic mother, married a narcissistic man who just, you know, belittled me day in and day out. And I took it because I wanted to make myself better. So I was very much addicted to self-help and healing. And that addiction began when I was about 13 years old. So what that looks like is I signed up for everything. I grew up in Boulder, Colorado. So I was studying with Neil Donald Walsh and Carolyn Mace live, and the Silva method live, and doing breath work. And my mother taught yoga growing up. So Iyengar, I started with Iyengar. I was teaching yoga with Iyengar method by the time I was 18 years old. I then studied with Bikram. I've lived on ashrams with Amachi. I've studied multiple lines of meditation and energy work and mindset work. I have done leadership and landmark forum. I mean, I have done so much stuff before I got my doctorate in transpersonal psychology. That was kind of the icing on the cake to allow me to say, yes, you can treat trauma. You can treat trauma. Because what I found is I first began treating trauma and on this mission as an advocate, speaking out against sexual abuse and telling my story. And then I became America's premier expert in self-care because that's a huge piece of it. And and when I did that, let's see. Oh, is it behind me? Yeah. Here's my little plaque back here. So that aspect of it, I was like, yeah, I can do this. Well, what I started doing is actually I would take my trauma clients, and because I had experienced trauma, I thought I could help and treat trauma, right? I thought I could help them and treat it. And I can, but I didn't know how to meet them where they were. I didn't know how to respect trauma. I didn't understand trauma itself. So my master's, my doctorate program really gave me this deep understanding and compassion that not everybody's experience is my experience, and that not everybody's conclusions about your trauma is my conclusions about my trauma, and not everybody moves at the same space and time. Okay. But in all of this, you guys, in all of this, that's like the academia part of me and all of this. Like my mission was just to heal myself and my family. My mission was to not have my children be abused, and neither of my children, they're now 18. They now have beautiful relationships. Neither of my children were abused by family members or anybody else that I really know of. And we have very open communication. I was the mother that I wanted to be. I was a mother that was always around. I was a mother that didn't abandon her children. Now, was I a perfect mother? Absolutely not. My kids and I were just at the dinner table talking about my episodes, right? I have CPTSD, and there are times that I get triggered. But because of that compassion and how I know you can manage that, I don't get triggered that much. So my intention is to help you step into the confidence to know how to manage the symptoms that you might be carrying from childhood abuse of all kinds and childhood sexual abuse specifically, and how you can not only overcome them and heal them, but also use them as your superpower to step into something different. Now, in order to step into this, like I was going to tell you my story and I get sidetracked teaching again, but I learned about my physical body when I went from being an opera singer and going to school with a full ride to the University of Colorado, CU Boulder, for music. I was singing opera. I found out I had cancer, and that was a cervical cancer and adenomyosis. And what that meant to me is I spent a year in treatment. I spent a year diving deep into how my body kept the score. Now, that book wasn't written, but I was 21. I had this cancer, and I had to learn how to deal with it. So that was the first autoimmune disease that I had. I also quickly had adrenal fatigue and adrenal failure. My pancreas quit working, my thyroid quit working, my pituitary went out by the time I was 24. So healing that was how I learned that my physical body was holding the trauma of all of the sexual abuse and all of the abuse that I went through. And I knew that if I was going to heal that trauma, I couldn't. I had to heal it. I had to go into it. I had to look at that. I had to take ownership of my health and my well-being. I had to change my diet to do that. So I became a dietitian for you and for me. Then after that, I got into these groups. I started meditating, and I noticed my negative self-talk, and my thyroid went out, my voice was gone, my pituitary went out. And when I was 13, when I had a very profound experience with whom I consider Jesus Christ. He appeared to me when I was in this field, this big ball of energy, this light, and he said, "Go home and tell." And that's when I told my abusers. And I told my abuser about another abuser. And that abuser went and protected me from the other abuser. But that actually was the ultimate got out of jail thing. That was the ultimate movement. My mom finally heard me, and all this other stuff happened. So, so I was 24, 25. I was in Bikram Yoga College of India, and I went down there, and I had just left the ashram with Amachi to become a yoga teacher to really heal the body. I wanted to get skinny, right? So like what drove me wasn't money or anything. It was really, I just wanted to be skinny. It was very important to my family to be skinny. And so if you can relate, give me a yes. If you can relate, give me a yes. So I wanted to be skinny. So I went to Bikram Yoga College of India because my thyroid, my adrenals had failed, and I had to find my voice. And I was laying down. I had this profound experience. I was laying down on the ground, and I began. What is it called when you come off the ground? 200 people were in the room, and I elevated. I came off the ground. I was hovering there, and I teleported to Amachi's ashram again, and Amachi healed my thyroid, my parathyroid, and my adrenals. And at that moment, Jesus was there and everything. I got the gift of seeding souls, and I got the gift of voice. And so I was elevated. Basically, everybody from the teacher training came around me. They took me in the back office. They like debunked me, right? They were like, "Oh, this is what happened to you. It's okay. We've seen this before, right? You just levitated. That's the word I was looking for. You just levitated." And I didn't realize that I did. I still don't remember actually hovering. I wish I did. I wish it was cognitive for me. It was just feedback from everybody. But what I do know is that all the answers that I needed to speak my voice in there, and the training that I was about to get from my ex-husband to learn how to use my voice, to learn how to speak up for myself, and my adrenals, my thyroid, my pituitary began to heal. So my endocrine system began to heal. And then I went on the journey so that's the mindset piece. And I was still learning how to think. I learned through mantra, everything that I teach, I learned through that. And so if you can relate to that, if you've had negative self-talk, if you've had your mindset blown, if you've had your voice taken away from thyroid disease, if your adrenals have fallen out, right? And you're like, oh, and you're hypervigilant when it comes to emotions, which we'll get to in a second, then give me a yes. Give me a yes. Please don't let me sit here all alone. Give me a yes, because that's where I learned that mindset was so much more than positive thinking. So much more. Yes, Grace says. Yes, Kathy says. Yes, Tarek says. Yes, Rosalie says. Yes, see, we are not alone. We are not alone. Yes, Star. I have been through so much, but so many of us have, right? I know that I am not alone. God was training me. God was training me to impact millions. God was training me for this. And so it's with great care that you're in this summit. It's with great care that I've partnered up with Tarek, whom I trust immensely. It is with great care that I do this. I spent years not only healing myself, but being trained up with it. So I began teaching meditation, a process I'm going to share with you in just a few minutes. And I began teaching this healing through these supernatural experiences. So that's my second supernatural experience. If you believe in past lives, I have a whole different story. Maybe I'll get into another day of the summit. But that's the second supernatural experience that I had that was very tangible, that changed my entire reality. I came back from that training and began teaching yoga, met my ex-husband, and started going to my next initiation, which was emotion. So when it comes to emotional body, I felt like emotions were thoughts, right? Remember thought, just like, oh, if I could just think better. And my emotions were thoughts. So I began healing my body. I began healing my relationship with my own negative self-talk, my relationship with listening to the different entities in my brain, my relationship with my inner child, which I had started healing much before this training. Like in my teens, I was doing inner child work. And so like all of that was coming to be, and I got into this marriage, and it was just toxic. I married somebody who I was there to convince to love me, who has been here to convince somebody that to love you, who married somebody so you can that they could convince you, or was with somebody that so they could convince you that you were lovable and you could convince them to love you. Anybody? Hello, Sweden. Yes, Jari, yes, yeah, you can relate. Yes, stick around with the summit. Yes, I had black magic over me too. Yep. We're gonna let it go. You're in good company, Jari. You're in good company. So yes, you guys are saying yes. Yes is all around. Okay, so my mission in my marriage was to convince this man who absolutely hated me that I was a good person, that I was lovable, and that I was good enough. And so that said, I ended up in the 13 years we were together, coming together, knowing to find out to love myself, right? To begin to trust myself in my feelings, to begin to trust myself in my own love and my own emotions. But I came into that relationship doing emotions like my mom did. And my parents did emotions by screaming, yelling, and ridiculing. So I thought I love you meant I will fix you. I'll send you for more self-help, and I'll tell you what the fuck is wrong with you. If you can relate, say yes. If you do this to yourself, say yes. We're going to break these chains this week. We're going to break these chains this week. So if you have the little critic inside of your head, and emotionally it is beating you up day in and day out, you are not alone, right? That is not love. But that's what I thought love was. And I remember waking up one day, I was doing deep studies with Thomas Martin and meditation. I was raised Catholic. I'm Christian, and I've written a book on the Yoga Sutras and the Bible. So this is my book, you guys, one of them. If you're interested in the Yoga Sutras and the Bible, I mean, it's like word for word descriptions. Took me 10 years. Anyway, but I'm studying this consciousness. I'm recognizing that my emotions are like different. And I wake up from bed and I'm praying to God. And I was just like, Jesus, I don't know what love is. I have no idea what love is. I know what love isn't. I know what criticism is. I know what hurt is. I know what negative self-talk is. I know what I'm not good enough is. I know what, well, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. I knew what rules and regulations were, right? But I didn't know just love. What's acceptance? What's acceptance? Curious, right? And that's when my life began to change. The divorce proceedings began. Everything that I needed to fall into place to take care of myself so I could get out of a marriage, that was criticism, that was teaching me what love wasn't, was there. And so I just looked up and we have 222 views and 11 diamonds in TikTok. That's friggin' awesome. So that's the emotional body. So your emotional body is actually your connective tissue in your body. And so I began studying the emotional body away from mindset, away from the brain, and studying lines of consciousness. And I stopped yelling. I started changing my habits of yelling and screaming. Now I've had multiple relationships, love relationships, where that wasn't the core communication style, is yelling, screaming, and criticizing. I not to say that I've, created the best relationships, but I've created ones that are more healthy, more tuned, more conscious. And that's what I pass on to my clients. So emotions live in your emotional system, in your connective tissue. And so claiming all of this is super, super beautiful. And what I found is, as I learned how to love me, as I learned how to open up consciousness of my own emotions and stop making sadness, depression, anger, shame, and guilt wrong, but instead using them as a tool to go, oh, I'm feeling ashamed about this, or am I really guilty of that? Or am I taking on that other person's? The toxic empath in me began to be healed. Who here is a toxic empath, a healer? You take on everyone else's problems, you wear it like a cross, you wonder why you can't heal it, it's not even yours, and you won't give anybody power but you. Anybody? Wow, so much synchronicity here. Yes, Angel. Yeah, right. So I was a toxic empath, meaning if somebody had cancer, oh, I'll do it. Somebody was sad and depressed, oh, I do it. My last relationship, right? I had a beautiful alcoholic. He didn't get healed. I did, right? I got to try on alcoholism. But I get to own that, because those were my little tendencies that I let come out of me because I was taking on his problem. I wanted to heal him. I wanted to love him, right? So this happens more in intimate relationships than it does in friendships, but we can do it in friendships. Some people, when you're super blown out, when your emotional field is super blown out, you have this toxic field around you. All right. So we're going to be healing that toxic field if you have a blown out emotional body. And so you can have your emotions and they can be your guide. And that's what we really want. I want your emotions to be your guide, because emotions are the best GPS system in the world. Who wants your emotional body to be be your guide? All right. So anyway, fast forward. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my late 30s actually at this point. And I get out of this very toxic marriage in a miraculous way. I have a roof over my head and a way to keep it until my kids are grown. I have no education. I've been a stay-at-home mom and I've been teaching yoga, but I no longer have my yoga studio. I have a tiny business training yoga teachers, and my mother says, well, you have to go to school. And I was like, no, I don't. And I became a certified divine living coach, and I got to travel around the world. And this is where my journey to professionalism began. I told them, no, I don't have to go to school to be a therapist. I started getting recognized. I started getting all of that, which was super, super cool. And then I started leaning into my fear of relationships, my etheric field. What was I attracting to myself? What was coming to me? And I began attracting. I said, God, I'm willing. Train me up and I'm willing. And then my school came to me. They said, we want you to get your doctorate. I said, I don't even have my master's. I got my master's. I got my doctorate in transpersonal psychology, and began learning how to really care for this container of psychology. And my mission is to shift psychology. I don't think psychology and trauma therapy is done in a right way. I think there are some people that do it in the right way, meaning not having you review, not having you go into that feeling or shaming the feeling or trying to fix the feeling, not trying to fix you, but instead embrace you, love you, honor you. And that's how I work with people. So one way that we connect all of this together, you guys, that's just a bit about me and how I work and how we're going to work in this summit, is through a process I call safe, secure, and successful. And it goes very well with Tarek's infinity healing. And maybe we'll even start with a little bit of both, but we already have Tarek's Infinity Healing activated. And I'd like to take the next couple minutes before our guests begin to come on to walk you through this meditation practice that is one of the bonuses in our program, to really connect in with your quote unquote ego body, right? Ego is a good thing. Your protective shield, your armor, which is your physical body, which is going to take the blow for your trauma before your soul, your mental body, which is going to take your blow for the trauma before your physical body. So if you deal with it in the mental, it's going to heal before the physical. Once it gets to the physical, it takes a little bit longer because it has to go back up, but that's a different story I'll tell another time. The emotional body, okay, which can heal faster than the mental body. It will take the blow for the mental body if you can handle it. And then the etheric, your world, your environment, all right? What you attract, your etheric body, what you attract into your reality, it's going to take the blow before your emotional body, your mental body, and your physical body. We heal it just the same. Okay, so you're going to use these three things to protect your soul. And we're going to seed the soul. Seed the soul. Now, I've had many supernatural experiences in my life that I could tell you about, but basically, you have a soul. Your soul has a body. That soul is consciousness. To be on this summit, you have consciousness. We would not have vibrated to you if you didn't have consciousness. There are some robots walking around in this world, for sure. There's some unconscious people. Unhealed people are still conscious. Okay. And I want to say one thing. There's a big phrase out in the world that says, hurt people hurt people. That's not true. Hurt people that don't admit they're hurt people. So I want you right now to know that you're in a safe space to be hurt. You're in the safe space to not get it right. You're in a safe space to still be embracing all those pieces of you that have been traumatized. You're in the safe space of not being perfect. And in that imperfection, you are enough. Can I get a hell yes? Can I get a hell yes? Okay. So let's do this. Let's do this. All right. So go ahead and invite yourself. I invite you, if it's safe for you, to close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Inhale. Hold your breath on top and exhale on and on. Inhale. Hold your breath on top and exhale. Inhale. Hold your breath on top and exhale. Take a moment and just wiggle your toes and feel your toes. You might even press into the soles of your feet. Let your breath return to normal and just feel your body. Take a moment and bring your mind, bring your emotions, the sensations into the experience of this present moment that your body is in. This is your body. This is your body. You can get plastic surgery. You can get in accidents. You can lose limbs. You are not your finger. You're not your leg. You're not your kneecap. You're not organs that have been taken out. You are so much more than any of that. But you have this body, and your body is whole even without, maybe you've also lost your appendix or your spleen. Maybe you've also lost your womb. Maybe you've lost a finger. Maybe you've lost your thyroid. Maybe you've had a heart attack. Maybe you've been brokenhearted. Whatever your body is expressing, Maybe you've been stuck in fight, flight, or freeze, and your body is expressing that, the adrenal fatigue. Maybe you have an autoimmune disease, or your body is fighting your body, and it resonates as whatever they call it. There's a bazillion different autoimmune diseases, each one tracking back to a different area of your life that needs your attention. Stop fighting yourself. Stop fighting your body for a minute. This moment. And inhale, opening your eyes. I want to invite you to take your hands, interlocking your fingers, and bring your hands behind your head. You're going to take your thumbs and you're going to cup them right underneath that little bony part where your brain and skull come together. And just lean your head back, relax your neck back there. Open your arms as wide as they'll go without any pressure or tension in your shoulders. And you're going to take your eyes and you're going to look to your left and you're just going to breathe. And I want you to just stay here, breathing, until you have a shift in your breath. Maybe you have a yawn. It could take up to 3 minutes, maybe even 5. It doesn't matter how long you're here. You can still follow us. And just stay here. I've already yawned, but I do this on the regular. Just stay here as long as you get that shift. And then whenever you get that shift, keeping your eyes just moving, just your eyes, look forward again till you balance that out. And then look towards the right, just your eyes, your chin stays forward. And just opening there. Notice if you kind of disassociate from your body and come back to your body, breathe. And that side's always a little longer for me. Wait until you have that shift, maybe a deep breath. Now this isn't forced. A yawn. Whew. And then coming forward with your eyesight, you just reconnected your head to your body. This is a beautiful practice. Anytime you have anxiety attacks, anytime you feel disassociated, you just opened up the connection, the communication again with this beautiful nerve here, your vagus nerve, that connects your head to your emotional body. Welcome home. Welcome home. Taking your hand to your heart. Create your hand to your heart. Imagine your thoughts. You're going to bring your attention into your forehead. Call it your third eye, your forehead. You're also going to trace this all the way back to the bottom of your brain, into your reptilian brain. And right behind your ears, you have your amygdala. I want you to imagine your brain. We're going to bring our attention to our brain and your thoughts. Now take this moment and just be still with your thoughts. We're going to do this breathing technique. We're going to inhale twice, hold for a second, and then exhale in an ah. So it goes like this. Do it 5 times. Nice. Notice how you might get a little lightheaded. Notice that and just listen to yourself for a minute. It might be challenging and hard to listen to yourself. Take this moment. I'm going to be silent and just listen to yourself. This is your brain. Now I want you to put a thought in your brain and notice how your brain reacts to it. The thought is one that heals all mental illness. Now I learned this in hypnosis class when I became a hypnotherapist, but it heals everything. The thought is, I am enough. What stories do you have around that? Just listen to them. It's about awareness today. You can shift what you're aware of. I am enough. Now notice the box that I am enough is in for you, if there is one. Right? I am enough might say, well, I'll be enough when I have enough money. I'll be enough when so-and-so loves me. I'll be enough when I have 1,000,000 followers. I'll be enough when I'm skinny. I'll be enough when, right? Is there stipulations on it? Is it a story about your parents? Well, they don't think I'm enough, or my husband doesn't think I'm enough. My wife doesn't think I'm enough. Though they hate me. They don't understand me. They judge me, right? Is there story there? If so, I want you to shift this statement, and we're going to use the next couple days, to I am open to being enough for me. I am open to being and having enough for me. I am open to being and having enough for me. The brain can't argue with open to. So take that breath, inhale and exhale, releasing there. Yes. Noticing how you just directed your thoughts, your brain, our thoughts, memories, and solutions. That's it. It's just doing its job. You are not your thoughts, you have thoughts. You're not your stories, you have stories. All right, let's move on to your emotional body. Notice how you're feeling. Notice how you're feeling today. They probably have a lot to do with the stories you're telling yourself and what's happening in your physical body, aches and pains. Just notice what sensations you're feeling, what stories you're telling yourself about the feelings. How are you feeling today? And you can put it in the chat if you want to. Just notice how you're feeling today. What emotion is coming up for you? Do you judge that emotion? Is it wrong or right? Do you feel like you have permission to have that emotion? Do you want to change it? When you're fighting your emotion, I wish I felt a different way. We come up with autoimmune diseases because our autoimmune diseases actually track in our connective tissue, in your fascia, and your fascia connects through all of your body. So if you have organ issues, if you have autoimmune diseases, it's mainly in your physical body. Vulnerable but optimistic. Beautiful, Rosemary. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for your vulnerability. Yeah. And so, yes, emotions, we had Angel saying emotions are created in our body, right? Our body expresses emotions, so stuck emotions, but it also expresses a war on emotion. So if you make these lower frequency emotions that are deemed as negative, like anger, hatred, bad, right? If you make them wrong and you don't learn how to express them in a healthy way or learn to acknowledge what they're trying to tell you, what you need, then it begins to be an autoimmune disease and it manifests as disease within your body that can affect your mental health and your well-being as well, because your brain is also in your body. Your hormones are in your body, right? They're all part of this physical manifestation. So how could you just feel good? Yes, Denise. Stage 4 bone cancer. Yes, love. Yes, love. So let's get to the bones, not feeling anything, the bones of numbness. I was feeling very numb today too, Denise. So the bones of numbness, right? If you weren't numb and you could trust yourself to feel these feelings without judgment, what could you release? I've seen stage 4 cancers reverse. I've heard stories. I believe in this miracle. Yeah. So we close it off. Anger, abandonment. Yes. What if anger and abandonment wasn't wrong? What if anger didn't mean you had to go and be angry at somebody or do blame and shame, like Tarek was saying, but you had to come back to you. Just feel your feelings. Okay, we're going to move on because we have 3 minutes here. Moving on. Just feel your feelings. Let's invite God's source into it. And what if today you could just embrace your feelings as if they are your inner child, like Tarek was connecting us to? They are your inner child. They are just your inner child. And you're there accepting, loving, knowing you can manage that fit, knowing you can imagine it. Just love. Yes, Brandy, we'll get to that. Stick around. We're definitely getting there. All right. So the exterior, we are going to feel this exterior. So the next way that our traumas and dramas continue showing up in our lives is through experience, right? If we don't feel them physically, right, if we block that feeling, if we shame it, blame it, resist it, if we make meaning about it and keep judging ourselves, if physically we're in pain, maybe we've manifested. I just manifested stuff on my nerves, cancer on my nerves. I just went through radiation treatment. Denise, just so you know, I just finished like 2 Mondays ago for radiation for cancer. And I developed that because it was like I was not owning things that got on my nerves. I was being overly accepting of everybody's shit. That's my toxic empathy, right? It gave me nerve cancer. So I get to express things that are on my nerves. I get to set better boundaries. I get to stand up for myself more now. So that's how it manifests in my outside world. So notice what's coming into your world. What are you manifesting? What are you attracting to you? You might not like what you're attracting to yourself. You might have struggles attracting to yourself, right? It might be manifesting as people not showing up for you, people showing up for you. It might be manifesting as no money. It might be manifesting as can't get anything done. It might be manifesting as abusive partners. It might be manifesting as abandonment. It might be manifesting as love, as joy, as abundance, as harmony, as great opportunities, right? It doesn't have to be negative. We can be positive. How are things manifesting in your life right now? What's happening? How are things showing up? How they're showing up in your life, your personal experience is what we're going to shift here. This is the infinity healing. This is where that works. Hey, so notice, be aware, bring your consciousness into that, connect there. And I want you to just reach up and we're going to do two things. We're going to push your energy out 3 to 10 feet out from you. Push, give yourself some space. So if you've been closed in, if you've been numb, give yourself some space. This is your emotional bubble. Or your energetic bubble. This is your dance space, like Dirty Dancing, right? This is your dance space. Open up your space, claim your space. Now, if your etheric field has been blown out, meaning you feel everybody's stuff and there is no difference between you and the world, close it. Close it. You want to be a healthy cell in this body. It's okay to be individualized and be enlightened, you guys. You don't have to be one with all to be one with all. Be that individual cell. That's why we're here. We're here to have this experience. Close your field. Close it in a loving way. It's like a sheen field. You can see through it. You can feel people's stuff, but their stuff can bounce off you, slide down and into bliss. Set that intention for today. Set that intention into bliss. Set it. Close that down. Now fill your space up. What do you want? Set that intention. We talked about the beginning of this whole event. Set that intention, put it into here. Feel you, see you, magnetize you to you. Health, vitality, impact, love, joy, miracles, healing, money, generosity. I want enough money that I can take my friends on vacation. I want enough money that I can take my friends out to dinner. I don't have that yet. I have enough to survive, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Right? But I have healing. I have healing. I have abundance in my life all around me. I have joy in my life all around me. I have yes in my life all around me. So take what you do have and then invite that as affirmation. Start affirming what you do have. Start affirming that gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I am grateful for you. Thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you so much for showing up today. Call the power. Notice the part of you that noticed your body, that noticed your mind, that noticed your emotions, that noticed your etheric field. That is your soul. That is your consciousness. You're whole, you're holy, and you're wholesome. And that is me. Welcome. Welcome to this beautiful summit. And my beautiful co-host, Tarek, baby, where are you? Where are you? Let's get started with the next beautiful areas that we have going on here. It is 11. He says 1 second. So I'm hoping that Miss Peggy is going to be here. So wonderful. We have Miss Peggy showing up. Now, Peggy, I met.
Dun, 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 dun,
I hope you guys feel great.
dun. That was amazing, Lisha. Thank you so much. So many comments, so many thank yous, so many people saying, yes, I relate to what you're sharing. Thanks for sharing your vulnerability and your story. Um, Manisha says thank you so much. So appreciate it.
You're
I sent you a
welcome.
Facebook message for our guests. It may be a different link. So I just copied the link off of StreamYard for our guest speakers.
Okay.
So if you could check your Facebook message, that's what they need to get. And yeah, if you
Okay.
need some time, I'll hold it down. All right. So we'll give Lisha some time to regroup. All right, guys. So me and Lisha decided instead of waiting for day 3 where we open up cart and share with you guys our 8-week container that we're gonna give you guys the opportunity to sign up from today. And the folks that sign up today are gonna get tons and tons of special bonuses. So I want to share that with you guys. We're not going to go into all the details right now, but I'm just going to say if you're wanting to work on your sexual traumas, boundaries, violation, inner child traumas, um, not being able to experience sexual pleasure, abundance, financial blocks, scarcity, survival, not being able to achieve as much money as you want, always stuck in debt. My superpowers, I've been helping women for the last 12, several times, but 18 years, achieve their financials, hit that six-figure mark. Me and Lisha worked together first month. She hit her 10, 15K mark. Um, Tons and tons of testimonials of amazing women, some single moms. A lot of them are single moms, actually, you know, achieving their financial goals. One of our clients, we did a VIP day. The next day, she hit 50K, 50K the next day. She had already booked in this amazing opportunity to work with the whole company, but it manifested the next day. Uh, One of our amazing clients, uh, didn't make all this money from her healing yet, but she started several streams of income from her passions, her creative endeavors, but went from a job where she wasn't appreciated, wasn't seen, overworked, underpaid, lots of hours. Every time it came for promotion time, they were doing a lot of fuckery and mind fucking. And then she was begged by a friend of hers to come join his new company where she gets paid more, works a lot less, is appreciated, is seen. There's so much like it's casual in the sense that she's even like going through my mentoring program, like um, at the same, not at the same time, but like there's more she can listen to her healing audios and stuff at work, and she's moving up already into more responsibility, recognition, leadership. So from one extreme to another. And so all these things can happen. I mean, working with Lisha has transformed my life in terms of manifesting a soulmate, in terms of really grounding in the sexual trauma that I experienced, which happened to me on a energetic level with an entity. Um, has been a game changer because unconsciously that's where I would go and hide, and the traumas and staying at home and mental health issues, addiction issues, it all stemmed from that. So if you guys really want to take an 8-week journey, the link is here. You can go to tarikbb.com/SAM, which stands for sex and money, because those are the two areas we're focusing on. tarikbb.com/SAM. Check out the program, and I'm going to give you guys so many bonuses. Join our inner circle for the next 8 weeks. Group healings, distance alone worth thousands of dollars. So I want to give you guys the divine heal your divine masculine, your divine feminine as well. So much. There's an entity program if you guys have entity issues, and audios you can listen to at night to help you with your abundance and all sorts of stuff. So There's tons of gifts already there when you sign up, but we want to add more gifts for you guys. And just a reminder, so you guys can click on that link. And anyone who signs up today, we're going to give you guys extra special bonuses. And then for those of you who haven't already received the first module, you can go to tarikbb.com/sex and money to receive the first module. And can't wait to build with you guys. Can't wait to have you guys with us. And it's been amazing going through the program myself. Me and Lisha are both going through the program after recording and spending all this time and energy and months and months and months birthing this little child, this powerful divine child of a program. And it's been amazing. I've been journaling. I don't have my journal in front of me here now, but like pages and pages and pages of all these money miracles and breakthroughs and that have been happening just in listening to the 4 modules. So I'm only halfway through, and it's already thousands of dollars in money miracles and living rent free and tons of like restaurant invitations and huge, like just everywhere I go, people are opening up their arms and their homes and inviting me. And I just feel like a celebrity. I feel so loved and held and supported by the universe. And it's like all these amazing experiences are just coming and amazing events and opportunities. It's just the biggest game changer was the one where you take your power back. I can't remember if we called it, I can't remember the title of it, Lisha, but it was the one where we focused on power struggles. Game changer. Just taking charge in my business, making the decisions I've been wanting to do with my music, with my poetry, getting my, like here I am holding space for so many women to get themselves out there to be seen. And I that I was my music and different areas of my life, and the music has been taking off, and the numbers are all-time high. And there's like 3 songs that are coming out. I should receive them today. And poetry album on the way. Game changer, game changer, game changer. So Denise says, infinity healing is the gift that keeps on giving. It sure does, because whatever you say yes to now will keep working with you for as long as it needs to till it's done. Thanks, Denise. We even had a client who said 6 months down the road, she was still clearing some of her stuff. So I believe it's Tour Strangers program. I don't know what you mean by that, Denise. Yeah, of course, Lisha. I was just trying to. Yeah.
I was
I
like,
know for me, after I'm done,
I
I'm
have
just
so
taking a
much to
break. Yeah,
share.
yeah, great, please.
I don't need a break. No,
Yeah, are you
Peggy's
not
coming
able to
on.
get yourself in on your own, Lisha?
No, I'm
No,
just
okay,
in the
okay.
waiting room. If you kick me out, I'm kicked out. I can't even talk.
Yeah, like it's for me, it's like the backstage after someone's done their performance. It's like backstage, regroup, take a few breaths. Yeah, but sorry if I kept you there longer than you needed.
Oh my
You're like, get me back. I'm ready.
Well, you're just sharing, and we do have so many great things. So I did module 4 last night, which was the entities and removing
Oh yeah.
attachments, removing energetic attachments, and
Yes.
evil eyes and negative thoughts that are thrown at you. And I woke up this morning and I felt lighter. I didn't weigh myself because it was 4 o'clock
Mm,
in the morning.
mm,
Then I did my regular routine, but I felt lighter. I just felt better. And I feel like there's so much every time I do our own program, because like Tarek said, we're doing our own program to see the results in it, to feel them, to claim them for ourselves. I get so much from it. And we're doing both educational. So your mind's going to understand from this. Your emotional body's going to understand from this. Your physical body's going to be healed. And then Tarek is doing infinity healing. So the entire thing, which is so powerful, so, so powerful. So
yes.
when you join today, you are going to get a live session with me, so we can heal, go through your trauma, and I'm going to give you that. So it's usually $222 to work with me for the hour, for therapy. And that's what you get. So you get that gift to come on and really set yourself up to get the most from this 7 module event. And then we have a ton of other stuff you're also going to get when you join today. That healing that I just did, my SSS, I have morning and evening healings from that I am going to gift you to go with this. So I just created that actually for another event I'm doing, but I'm going to give it to you guys when you join today. So that's just for today, though.
Yay.
That's today. Those are my today bonuses. They're not written
We want to
anywhere else.
inspire those who are taking fast, inspired action, and it'll pay itself off in terms of financial abundance and all the energy that goes into traumas and numbing ourselves out and bad relationships and not being recognized at work and not getting enough money and all the energy that's going towards where we're at now based on our traumas. I feel like we're going to take that, we're going to receive it all back. It's going to bless us and fill our cups. I believe Peggy, our next guest, is here. I will pull back.
Yay!
If anyone here just wants to hop on a call, see how I can support them, I'm going to put a link right here. You can always just go to tartbb.com. If you have questions about the program, I'm happy to get on a call with you and answer questions. Denise, would love to have you if you're here tomorrow. Come in and come on the call between speakers and sharing experience about how you cleared your cancer and your experience with the module. You're one of our biggest like testimonials right now, and love your work. And you're one of our Infinity Healing graduates, so I feel like you're in the vortex. But yes, love you guys. Enjoy our next speaker. Thanks for being here. Thanks for loving yourself enough to stay and receive even more and get ready to receive more. Thank you.
So now we are going to talk about the issue, the root cause. We're going to talk about the root cause and what nobody wants to talk about. So this is my beautiful, beautiful guest, Peggy. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. This is Peggy. This is Peggy McIntyre, and she is a advocate, a coach, a healer for survivors of sexual abuse. And this is a conversation that when Peggy and I spoke, we were like, we need to talk about it. Like, it's not talked about. This is the hush hush. Everyone sweeps it underneath the rug. So we're going to bring it out on day one, and we're going to go deep on what we need to talk about when it comes to sexual abuse. I just want to say I looked up some things, Peggy, yesterday, because I was like, how many people? Let's just let's look at the real statistics. How many people are sexually abused? How many adults in the US? We're just going US here because that's the statistics that I found. Are living with the effects of childhood sexual abuse.
Well,
you know how many?
Oh, please do tell.
Do tell. 42 million.
Wow.
Those are just the adults. Now, 600,000 children were abused this year and turned in. Those are the kids that are going to grow up, and there's 42 million of us. So this hush hush topic that is ruining our financial lives, guys, ruining our lives is huge. So if you can resonate with this, just say yes. Let's push it out, and let's just admit that this is an issue, and we're going to talk about it. And Peggy is one of our fearless leaders. So Peggy, will you just introduce yourself, share with our audience who you are, what you do, what brought you here?
Well, my name is Peggy McIntyre, and I am an incest survivor. My biological father started abusing me at age 7, and I spent probably the next 23 years in silence. And then I couldn't take it anymore. And then the feelings started to crop up, and I went into a lot of negative and destructive behaviors, including a drug addiction. And then I thankfully was able to get the help I needed, and that began my journey. 30 years sober in March. And
congratulations.
On a journey of self-discovery, self-healing, finding my purpose, which is helping others. And as you know, wounded people tend to, um, Denise, I feel you. Um, we tend to want to help others because we understand the pain. So that has led me on a journey of becoming a coach, an advocate for speaking out. I just recently, believe it or not, became very vocal about my abuse and the incest, which, in my opinion, incest, not that all abuse isn't horrible, but I think there's something particularly perverse about parent child abuse. And so I recently, about a year ago or so, that I shared my story, and I'm a fierce advocate of bringing this out in the open, because if if somebody carjacked me, I wouldn't be ashamed to tell that. And nobody else would say, oh, you shouldn't talk about that. If somebody broke into my house and robbed me, they wouldn't say, oh, don't talk about that. If so, why, when somebody robbed me of my childhood and stole my innocence, why do I need to be quiet about that? Why? I don't. Because sexual abuse victims are the only victims of a crime that are encouraged to be silent. I want to change
Exactly.
that. I want
Yes.
to change that.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So that's my story in a nutshell.
I love it. So, Peggy, I'm going to take you deeper if you don't mind. Peggy is beginning the journey to be an amazing you coach and learn how to walk people into their identity and heal the effects of sexual abuse. She is, as you can tell, open about what happened. And we don't need to go into what happened because that can be triggering for some people. Knowing that it happened is that open heartness that is so vulnerable and so beautiful. And I love that. But what I do want to talk about, if you're willing, is what are some of the symptoms that showed up? Let's get real about how this so deeply affects us. Like, what are some of the symptoms that you have walked through in your life where it is directly related to, or you can track it back to being molested as a child?
Well, oh, what are the symptoms? First of all, shame, extreme feeling of shame, low self-esteem, low self-worth, fear of failure. And I was not only sexually abused, I was physically abused. Mistakes were severely punished in my household. So I was afraid to make mistakes, which created this perfectionist behavior. And if I didn't think I could do it perfect, I wouldn't do it at all. So I missed out on a lot of opportunities. And let's not talk about, let's not even begin the relationship issues, the toxic relationships, the blurred boundaries or no boundaries, and being taken advantage of, and having a tattoo on my forehead for manipulators who just knew that I was ripe for the picking to be taken advantage of. And just missed opportunities in my career in terms of not having the confidence to go for promotions and things like that, or just put myself out there to be fearless. And I remember just not even seeking promotions or seeking jobs because I didn't feel confident in my ability. Although I was very smart, I went to a major university and did well and graduated, but I didn't have the confidence. So, and then, of course, addictions, food addiction, alcohol addiction. I started with alcohol at about age 12. My family had parties, holiday parties, and they'd have alcohol, and I would drink until I got drunk. And then when I got to college, I started smoking marijuana. And then later I got introduced to crack cocaine, and that was the one that really took me into a downward spiral. And then I realized that I could not continue to live my life that way. So that's what led me into my total healing journey. So I guess I mean that's a whole laundry list of stuff, and
Right?
making poor decisions after poor decision after poor decision when it came to relationships, and um choosing men that weren't healthy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just, this is just a quick aside. I remember a time in my life when there was this one guy who was really nice and he was really into me and he was pursuing me. And I said, I didn't want to be with him because he was boring. I mean,
Exactly.
I mean, because he didn't cause any chaos in my life. He was sweet, he was kind, he was loving. That was boring to me. And here I was, I wanted somebody that was well, a bad boy creating chaos in my life because I didn't know how to operate in stillness. And I always felt like I was in the eye of the storm. If you ever been in a hurricane, there's a period in the middle of the storm where, yes, we do normalize the chaos. And there's a period in the storm where they call it the eye, where half of it goes through, and then there's this period of silence, and it's very eerily calm. And then, but that's not the end of it. Then there's the second half of it. So, um, and I just can't even tell you how many mistakes I've made and gone against my very own values to please some male in my life because they wanted me to do something that I didn't want to do, but in order to please them, I did it. So I just have story after story of tearing my life apart and having to rebuild it, tearing it apart again, having to rebuild it. But as well, each mistake, you take the lessons and you get better. And here I am at almost 70. Hopefully I've learned all the lessons I need to learn, and I'm not opposed to love. As a matter of fact, I would welcome love, but hopefully at this stage of my life I would have the wisdom and discernment to see the red flags. Okay, let's put it this way. Not just to see the red flags, because I have to tell you, I saw a lot of red flags.
It's like
I
you saw him, you just
ignored,
didn't do anything about him.
yes, but at this point in my life, I would actually pay attention to the red flags and um, just avoid the relationship altogether. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
What I love, I mean, there's so many things that I love about you. I love getting to know you, everything that I have so far. I can't wait to continue to get to know you so much more. I love
likewise,
that it's never too late. Like what you represent is it's never ever too late, you guys. It's never too late to step into your next level, to step into your next way of serving, your next way of going for your heart, your next way of abundance, your next way of opening, your next way of saying it is time to talk about this now. Now Peggy's been talking about it for a number of years, right? She's been an advocate for many, many years, but there was that shift. So if you're older in your years now, I just want to say start at 70, start at 80. The more times that we can start, right? The more people that we have saying, no, this is a trauma. This is something that we're allowed to talk about. We're allowed to talk about sex and we're allowed to talk about money. We're allowed to talk about
absolutely,
sex and we're allowed to talk about money. And you know what? Sexual abuse and trauma is $1 billion industry. Sex trafficking is $1 billion industry. It is huge. We have to talk about it in order to end it. We have to talk about it. So I want to commend you, Peggy, for talking about it. Talking about your story, I know it gets easier, right? It gets
oh,
easier, but
absolutely,
it gets numb, right? It's numbing at first, it's challenging at first, and then you come numb to it, and you're like, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel numb? We have some beautiful comments over here. Denise just keeps saying yes, yes. Boring guys, yeah. that, paying attention to red flags. So when we were talking earlier, I was talking about how we shift our vibration, we attract our reality, we co-create our reality. And I feel like a lot of people in the spiritual or self-help community, we get this notion of you create your own reality, or don't have victim consciousness. And that in itself keeps us not sharing our victimness, right? Not sharing what happened to us, because we don't want to have this victim consciousness, and we create our reality. And so I want to kibosh that
Absolutely.
quickly, if you're okay with that. And what would you say to somebody who is just, they've admitted it to themselves, obviously, they know it happened, maybe they've suppressed some of the memory, maybe the memories are just coming up through body memories or dreams and flashbacks or emotional triggers and smells and sensations. And they're starting to come to terms with the possibility or the fact that they were abused as a child. What advice would you give them to help them not hide in the shame and the guilt, and not be pushed down by the self-help or therapy people that are like, just fix the problem? The problem is set better boundaries. Right? It's not set better boundaries. It's not see the red flags. It's the red flags aren't normal. The red flags aren't healthy. Your normal is not healthy, right? So it's not about all this wisdom that we get. It's about what would you say?
Well, that's such a complex question. Well, I suppose the first step is, well, admitting that it happened and accepting that it happened, because then only then can you begin to heal and deal with it, because awareness is the first step in healing. And then in terms of sharing, I would, if anybody's familiar with the 12 steps, one of the steps is to share with a person. And I shared mine on Facebook. I don't say everybody has to do that, but I do think there is freedom in sharing, because secrets breed sickness. So why? It's like when you're sitting at a red light, and you so let's say you're picking your nose, and you don't think anything about that. But then if you look over and you see the driver next to you see you pick your nose, you feel embarrassed. And so there is shame in being exposed. So when you are able, when a victim who is moving into survivor, I know a lot of people are adverse to using the term victim, but we were victims. We're moving into survivorship. We're moving into thriving. But wherever we are in that journey, it's okay. But for the beginner, first of all, it's admitting that it happened, share it with at least one other person. And my caution is this: be prepared to be dismissed, or your experience minimized. Because in my case, it was like, oh, well, he couldn't have done that. He wouldn't have done that, because my father was well loved. He's very charismatic. And but yes, he did do that. And so be prepared to be dismissed or not believed, but you know what happened. And it's okay that you know, and that you accept that. And while it would be nice to be validated, while it would be nice to be believed, that's not always going to be the case. And but so you have to just do it for yourself. And anything can be healed through God's grace. Indeed. Yes. And I am a strong Christian, and only through the grace of God am I here today, because I was very close to death in my addiction. I really could have died in my addiction, but God, snatched me out of that. And I am here today to share my story. But back to, and I think you're right. Um, there's a lot of mindset work that we can just have the right mindset and will it away. Um, and to a certain extent, I suppose that is true. You have to understand
It's a
yourself.
lot of work, though. It is so
Oh,
much
it's
work.
a lot of
Oh
work.
my gosh. I mean, haven't we worked enough on this? I mean, that's what I was talking about earlier in my segment is I was talking about, the physical body, it takes so long to heal, right?
Yes.
That the mental body, it's a little faster, and the mental body affects the physical body, and it can take a little shorter, but it's still so much work. The emotional body is a little bit faster than the mental body. You can change your mood faster than your beliefs. But again, it's like constant, like keep it track and push it down and rearranging. It's just like all this attention. And then you have your etheric field, like shifting your reality. But when your source comes in, when God comes in, when the, that comes in, and you go, okay, I'm going to trust my soul to do this. I'm going to trust the Holy Spirit through me to do this. Then it's like, okay, then everything else, and it's not efforted anymore. I don't have to effort not to have my panic attacks anymore. I don't have to effort to not yell anymore. I don't have to effort to stay well. And when things do come up in my body, I'm like, okay, cool. There's cancer again. Thank God we got it really fast. Let's do this. What's on my nerves? Okay, I got to admit what's on my nerves. Quit being so fucking accepting, Lisha. Things can get on your nerves, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that's so beautifully said. I want to touch on the word victim. Let's just go straight into that since you mentioned it too. Victim does get a really, really bad rap, right? You guys, if anybody has told you, don't be a victim, there is a behavior pattern, right, that we have as victims, which attract those people to us that tell us, oh, she'll be a good victim, he'll be a good victim. It is a energy, it is a vibration. And for that, we need to take responsibility for that. But what gets us into that vibration is very much being victimized. Okay, let's just admit what we learned. We learned how to be a victim. We were trained on how to be okay and live through victimization. And yes, it's a frequency that plasters that over your head, right? It's a mindset that says, well, I'm going to do what he says, and I don't want to hurt his feelings, and I want to be understanding, and I want to be a good girl, or I want to be a good boy, or I have to get it perfect. Right? So, but there is definitely victimization. And
yes.
And so
I'm
share,
sorry.
yeah, no, share about that. That you're perfect. That's exactly
And
what I wanted.
and re-victimization, because we operate sometimes, or very often, well, I know I did, where I was constantly putting myself into situations that felt familiar, because we do normalize abuse and behavior, and I guess you call it the energy, and I crave that, and I brought that into my life, and then I put myself into situations where I would be re-victimized. So it was a constant cycle from, like you said, learning to survive in the abuse, feeling comfortable in the abuse, and developing coping skills and mechanisms to, I won't say thrive, but at least survive in the abuse, to do the best we can in it. And we develop these behaviors and these coping mechanisms. And as we grow older, we understand that they no longer serve us. And we're continuing to use those old behaviors, those old survival mechanisms in our new environment, in the world at large, that's relatively, I don't know if normal is the right word, but where a majority of the people were not abused. And we're trying to operate in the only way we know and we relate to people the way we know. And so I just wanted to touch on the re-victimization part, and from a lot of the readings that I've done, abuse victims of abuse don't have the same caution triggers, because we're so used to pain and angst that when, because I know in my life, things had to really, really hurt in order for me to understand that it was dangerous, because I was so used to the pain. And a lot of it
It's normalized.
is normalized.
It's normalized. I was saying earlier, I was like, well, love to me was, I'll fix you, I'll criticize you. So love to me was like, well, you're a fuck up. Like, you're just fat. You're a fucking fat cow. And I was like, oh, he loves me. He wants me to lose weight. He wants me to look my best. So 12% body fat. It's okay. I'll be 10. I'll be 10. Right? I'll give up myself. You want me, I'll give up myself. Like, it was like, that was love. That was literally love to me. That's how my mom said I love you. That's how my dad said I love you, right? It's like, you're not good enough, right? And yeah, so true. So what's normal isn't always healthy. I say that all the time. So what are some of the normal things that you see? I know that you've been an advocate, you've been working with people for a long time. Like, what are some normal things that you see in you and other, let's just call it what it is, surviving victims that were victimized in your community that are really typical? What do you see?
You mean before or after the healing journey, or during the healing journey, or where
Let's do during. Let's do during. So they're in the healing journey. Things are happening. They've gone through that step 1 and step 2. So they've recognized the abuse. They've spoken out about their abuse, at least to one person. And now they're like, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for my healing. What are some normal things that you notice that might be different from what I noticed that come up for people, that people that are watching might look for?
Well, first of all, I think there is a mental learning process of what to do. And then you know what to do, but emotionally, there is somewhat of a disconnect. So during that phase, especially early on, a lot of mistakes will be made. A lot of re-engaging in old behaviors will be made. And because it's like building a muscle, and you have to exercise that muscle. And as you heal and you start to do things differently and develop healthy coping mechanisms, and working to develop healthy relationships and things like that, there will be times when you do lapse back. And then it is important to be kind and extract the lesson, you know, for next time. Because I always like to say, extract the lesson so I can do it better next time. Not beat myself up for the mistake, although that's, I sometimes do, but I try not to stay there very long. But then to say, hey, what's the lesson? And how can I do it better next time? And then it is a journey. It's a lifelong journey of healing. And after 30 years in recovery, drug recovery, victimhood recovery, sexual abuse recovery, I still sometimes don't always get it right. And that's okay, because as you've read and Lisha, that trauma affects the brain. I mean, especially when you start out very young and you're developing, it affects the brain. It affects you physically, the physiology. It affects everything. So it's just a lifelong healing process, and I just praise God that I just get better every day. But what I also praise Him for is that I am able to live in peace and harmony and joy. And I'm able to feel interesting, and this is just an aside, because I remember for so long in my life, I was numb. I couldn't feel. I don't know exactly what it was, but I was so numb. And now I enjoy the full range of my emotions: sadness, happiness, anger, not rage, because that's totally different, and we know that when we are go back into when something triggers us into that way back trauma and we react so violently to a situation happening today that really isn't that bad, but we have this visceral reaction to it. And I have to look at that sometimes. Well, why is that upsetting you? It really wasn't that bad. And then I have to go back and say, oh yeah, that reminded me of this, of it touched that sore spot.
Yeah.
So I guess so yes, go ahead.
You're perfect. I think that was great. Thank you. Thank you for answering it. But yeah, I mean, we could talk about it forever, right? We could talk about it forever. Um, I do agree that the healing continues, but I think that's just life. I'm
That
no
is
longer
life.
looking, I'm no longer looking at myself, well, I have to heal from this because of my trauma. I'm getting to heal from things because, well, that's life. And my trauma was part of my life. So instead of
Absolutely.
having the trauma leading me, this is just where I'm at in my healing. Instead of having my trauma be like that force that I'm trying to fix or sort through or dig through or witness or change my reactivity to, instead of having that lead me, now when things come up, I'm just like, oh, and it's quite infrequently that things come up and it is still that root, the flashbacks, the PTSD, the rage, the hurt, the crying fits, the disassociation. Um, they don't really happen anymore. And knock on wood. But if they did, I would do it with love and compassion, right? Like you were saying, just love and compassion, that you have the tools to work through that. And the other piece is, now I'm attracting different things into my life. Now I look at it was like, well, this is life, and that was part of my life. It's life,
Well,
and that was part of my life.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I love that you said not being led. I think that the longer you're in healing and the more healing takes place, there are scars, but you'll see the scar, but it no longer hurts. Because I did stuff, I had cancer, and I have this, they put a port here. And I remember when I had it taken out, it was very painful. Um, and it took a while to heal. But I still have that scar, but it no longer hurts.
Yeah.
It's just a reminder. And I look at it and I think, oh my goodness, what a blessing that is for me, because it's what healed me from my cancer. And I think that if abuse can be somehow viewed as a blessing in a way, and I don't want people to get off weirded out by this, but I think people who have experienced pain are very compassionate,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very compassionate, and they're caring, and they're loving. And I think that God gives us an extra dose of grace and whatever to help us navigate the world and to help others navigate the world. Because as you have done, and as I have done, we have taken this horrible thing that happened to us and we have turned it into something quite remarkable, in that we're turning around and we're helping others, come along and come out of the healing. And I love that you said it doesn't matter how old you are, you know, because it just doesn't matter. But I want to encourage people, don't let another day turn into a decade before you start your healing journey. And Dr. Lisha. How do you pronounce your last name? Antiqua?
It's Lisha Antiqua.
Lisha.
Lisha Antiqua.
Lisha. Oh, did I call you Lisha? Lisha.
Yeah, I let it fly too much. I'm gonna get better at correcting that. That's one of my jobs to learn. No, just stop people and correct them. It's Lisha. But
Well,
I'll let you call me that, for the last month. It's all good.
well, you know what? I didn't correct you with my last name. It's McIntyre. So
There you go. It's McIntyre.
so but it's all good. But you have a wonderful program and healing, and there is healing and programs out there to be had, and I encourage you to people just to find their tribe and go for it, and it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of painful work, but it reminds me of I've had 2 hip replacements. Now the first one was the worst, and I suffered for years and years and years. I knew I needed it. I was in such pain, but I was afraid to have the surgery. And finally, I decided to have it, and I had it, and it hurt. And then I had several weeks of physical therapy, but then after that, there was no more pain. I was pain free. And I'm like, oh my God, why did I wait so long? So in the physical realm, there's work that to be done to heal our bodies, and I think in the emotional, spiritual realm, there's also surgery that needs to be done to heal our wounds.
Yeah.
So, but it's so rewarding, so rewarding.
So rewarding. So do you have anywhere that people can get a hold of you as we wrap up?
Yes, I am Peggy McIntyre on all channels. I'm Peggy McIntyre on LinkedIn, but I do most of my stuff on Facebook. And I do have my picture, so there are a few Peggy McIntyres, but I think I'm the only Black one.
Yeah, because it's an Irish name, McIntyre.
Yes, that's me. And I think on TikTok. So I'm Peggy McIntyre. I think maybe on Instagram I might be at Peggy McIntyre Coaching or something like that. But look for me, and I do make it a habit of putting my picture on there since my name is rather common. But so yes.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you for being an advocate. Thank you for being like with a heart to come out and talk about this, because sexual abuse, yeah, we're like, and don't talk about it. Victimhood, oh, don't talk about it. Well, like, we'll own the victimhood, right? We'll spiritually bypass it. We won't put any responsibility on the people doing bad things. Our world has really twisted this around to shove our faces in the sand, and it takes people like you to stand up and say no more. We're going to have a conversation about this. We're going to heal this. We're going to look at where we were victimized. We're going to own the habits and behaviors and acceptance that it takes to be that. We're going to look at the symptoms. We're going to learn how to manage them, how to live with them, and then we're going to thrive. We're going to stand in our word, claim our money, claim our value. Peggy, I hope that you join us for the rest of the summit. I can't wait to continue working with you personally. Absolutely. And have you on our team at your own university as a coach. And I just adore you.
I adore you too.
Truly love that we're getting to know each other.
Yes. And I am so excited to continue our work. And we are going to get it. Just, I don't know, sunshine and rainbows and all that good stuff. Moving forward. Absolutely.
All right, you guys. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it, everybody. Everybody, we're going to talk about it. We're going to say this is unfortunately, it's normal. 1 in 5 people, 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 6 boys are molested, are abused as children. And many of them are from family members, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, mothers, right? It's not only men that do it. It's not only women that do it. It's not only girls. It's not only boys. There's 42 million of us not talking about it. Let's talk about how we can heal. We're going to explore how we're going to heal this week. And Peggy, thank you for kicking it off and opening up this conversation. I couldn't have thought of a better person to have this kind of conversation with us. All right. So,
thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Saw you soon. All right, everybody. So our gates are open. Tarek and I have our missions there. If you can work with either of us, and it's beautiful. I have private clients. Tarek has private clients. We both have coaching and teaching programs. We are here as a team, and we want to invite you to get all of the bonuses, and that's going to happen today. So the link to our program that we are opening up the carts for today is around there, around here someplace. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to Tarek or me, and let's dive in to how we can serve you the best. We have 2 more days coming up. Tarek, do you want to share a little bit about what's on your heart right now? You're muted, I think. You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing an amazing speaker and human being. I felt like everyone was just loving her up, and just like,
isn't she amazing?
melted.
She's so awesome. Freaking incredible. I'm like, you are a rock star.
Yeah, it was lighting people up throughout her conversation, and yeah, I feel like we're off to a great start. And we're definitely leaving this call more remembered, lighter, more empowered than we did coming in, which was my promise to everyone. And it was fun collaborating, and we're nearing the end. So yeah, call to action. You don't have the first module, tarekbb.com/sex and money. Want to dive in and get all the exclusive bonuses we're only offering to you guys for those of you who are taking inspired action today. tarekbb.com/sam for the full 8-week program. And yeah, let's do a giveaway, Lisha. So anyone who shares the replay of this call on their social networks, you can share your own experience of why you liked it. If you share it and shoot us a message letting us, or tag us, tag me, Tarek BB, tag Lisha at Lisha Antiqua, at Dr. Lisha Antiqua.
At Dr. Lisha Antiqua. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tag us, but also message us in case we don't get the tag because we're busy doing the summit. Then we can gift you guys some free audios as a thank you for that.
Yeah.
So how does that
and
feel?
If you share all 3 days, we're going to put you in the pool. So day 1, if you share today, we're going to put you in the pool to get this course for free.
Yay. Okay. I know Denise is going to be on that. So if you share all 3 and tag us and message us.
All 3, tag us, message, share. Tag, message, share. Beautiful. All 3 days. So we have that. You're going to get
the whole program.
And then you get the whole program, and
with
we
all
will
the
be
bonuses.
announcing that with all the bonuses, with everything. Right. So it's
my call to action, Lisha, I love it. Thank you for that. It's very generous. My call to action is for folks to just do an inventory of who is it that you feel you have not reached out to and had a heart-to-heart conversation with that's unresolved, whether they're here in the physical or not. So just write down a list of those people, circle one of those people, and actually commit to having. I think the baby step call to action is initiating a, hey, I'd love to have a chat. And then the extra ambitious challenge would be to actually having that chat before our next day. And we'll give you guys bonuses as a thank you for taking inspired action for that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
so that is our love action.
Love action.
Love
Tomorrow,
action.
same
I
time,
have,
same channel.
yes,
Yes,
same time, same channel.
same bad channel.
I have a call to action too. If you were sexually abused, and you have closed down your thyroid, you've closed down your throat, you've closed down your voice, my call to action for you is to tell that one person. And that can be me,
Mm.
that can be Tarek, that can be somebody here,
Mm.
but reach
Yes,
out and tell that one person
I love that.
and share, because that is opening to your breakthrough. That is
Yes,
opening to own your value, even though that is open to unshaming and blaming yourself. That is
yes.
opening to that. So my invitation is to absolutely, you can respond to one of the emails. If you're on the email list, respond to one of the emails and share. You can message me on social media and share, and or share with somebody else.
Love it. Take that shame back, take your power back, use that throat chakra for the gift that it is to share things. Thank you. Thank you. Denise is like, bye, Batman. Amazing. Thank you all for being here. Lisha, you're phenomenal. You're amazing. I can't wait for our audience to receive this labor of love that we've spent months, close to a year, kind of working together. Then it turned into creating modules, and it came into creating, recording them, and now it's receiving them and sharing them. It's a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful
It
journey.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just
Thanks, you
sitting there
guys.
waiting for folks to dive into the pool and come out rejuvenated and remembered and reactualized and all the good rewords.
All the rees. All the rees.
Yeah.
This has been a super fun 3 hours. It went by so fast. It is now 8 a.m. here in Alaska, and I'm ready to get up and start my day.
Yes. Beautiful. I'm gonna go out with my folks and celebrate, spend time together, maybe watch a movie. I shared, yeah, good for you. There's a Facebook user who shared on the personal page already. Martine says, thank you guys,
Yay!
loved it. I need to figure out how, there's a StreamYard link that when you click on it, it shows your name and picture. I haven't figured out how to do that. So someone here has that StreamYard link, maybe share it tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time till 12 p.m. Eastern time. That's day 2. More speakers, more activations, more gifts, more connection, more break, more. And then there'll be day 3, the final day on Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time. All right. Stay tuned.
Right.
And I'm going to offer you guys something really special on Friday. Definitely stay tuned for that. I got it as a download today, and I haven't done it in forever. And it's really special. And Lisha
I
gave a
can't
hint
wait.
earlier when she shared. There was a hint there. All right, guys.
Yay!
Thanks, Lisha. Appreciate you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
Tarek. Thanks, everybody. Love you. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
All right. Bye.